What's up, friends? Welcome back to my channel. I hope you all are doing well. Today I have an Hermes beauty review for you all. Hermes just launched their Plein Air Healthy Glow Mineral Powders. This is a line of what are essentially bronzers and also glowy powders. I have one of the shades to review for you guys today. I'm going to be doing a demo in natural light as always, showing you guys how this applies to the face and also letting you know if this is worth the very steep price tag that we always see with Hermes beauty products. So if you guys want to hear all of my thoughts, then keep watching. And if this is your first time here, then welcome. My name is Sophia. This is my channel where we talk about all things beauty and luxury. I do a lot of reviews on new luxury beauty releases. I also do a little bit of luxury fashion and lifestyle as well. So if that is something that is of interest to you, then you're in the right place, my friend. Hit that subscribe button to join our fam, and you can also hit the notification bell to hear about every time I upload a new video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out, guys. And I'm going to be linking all of the products that I'm wearing on my face and also the links to where you can buy the bronzers in that description box down below. When you shop through those links, it's a really great way to support my channel. Most of the time, depending on the retailer, I am using affiliate links. All right, party people, let's talk about these new powders from Hermes. If you're not familiar with Hermes Beauty, they have a couple of different products in their lineup. First, they launched, I believe, with lipsticks. They shortly followed with blushes and highlighters. We also have some nail polishes. And then last year, they came out with their Plein Air line, which is kind of like their complexion product. So they came out with a skin tint, and they also came out with a setting powder. Well, this season, we're basically getting bronzers and some glow powders. So this is called the Hermes Plein Air Healthy Glow Mineral Powder. Just looking at the packaging here, these are made in Italy. They have a 12-month shelf life, and you are getting 0.63 ounces of product. Now, these are going to be launching in 7 shades. 5 of those shades are essentially what are the bronzers. And I'll move aside and kind of insert an image here of all of the shades. We have first off the shade Totori, which is going to be kind of like for lighter complexions, maybe with a little bit of a cooler undertone. We have the shade that I have here that I'm going to demo for you all, which is called Atlas. This is for fair complexions, but it is a little bit more golden. Getting into the deeper shades, we then have Sahara. We also have Cien, and then we have Colorado, which is the deeper shade. So there's going to be 5 shades of the bronzers, and then they also have 2 glowy powders. I don't have any of these yet. I do think I am going to pick one of them up though. Maybe I might go see them in store first. So the first one that we have here is called Rose Atacama. It's kind of like a rosy glow type of tone. And then we also have the shade Coral Mojave. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. And that's more of like a golden tone. So those are the 7 powders that are going to be launched as a part of this collection. I'm going to put all the information about the availability of these powders in the description box down below, because with a lot of these luxury launches, it changes every day. Sometimes they pop up on the Hermes website, and then they might pop up on like a UK website. So I'm going to put all of the places where you can get this in that description box down below to kind of help you guys out. And also, please subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram. I'll put my handle also in the description box. That's where I let you guys know when things drop at different retailers, when they come back in stock, when they launch. You guys know the drill. So subscribe and follow me on Instagram for more information. I'm pretty sure that these are going to be retailing for $95, just like the powders. So it is a pretty steep price point. Everything at Hermes is pretty expensive. So my goal for this review today is to give you guys a little bit of guidance on whether or not this is something that you should spend that amount of money on, and how maybe it stacks up against other luxury bronzers. Let me show you some more close-ups of the powder and also the packaging. I really like the packaging. It kind of looks like maybe recycled paper, and then inside you have that beautiful orange box, which is always a treat to open up. Taking a look though at the powder itself, you know, on the box it says this is a semi-matte mineral powder. So you can see there's like a little bit, maybe you can see there's a little bit of like luminosity to this formula. It also says that this is a gentle formula made with 86% ingredients of natural origin. It contains a hyaluronic acid derivative and enhances all skin types, even sensitive. So that's a little bit about, you know, the marketing and what they say about the formula. The other thing that it says here on the box is that it is a trio of sunny colors for a natural sun-kissed finish. So this is supposed to be very natural, but when I heard trio of colors, I don't know, you can kind of tell a little bit in the natural light right here, but to be honest with you friends, I don't really see like a trio of colors. It's not very apparent. It's not very stark. This is not the kind of compact where, oh, if you went a little bit over here, you get this type of tone. And if you go more in the center, you get this type of tone. It's really not like that. If you take a look at the marketing photos, it looks a little bit more apparent, and maybe it is like that in the deeper shades. If that's something that's important to you, I just want to call it out. This is like not really so much a trio of colors, but I think you guys can see from the close-ups and also the swatches, this is like a fairly matte formula, maybe with a little bit of a glowy finish. And then this color Atlas, it has kind of like a golden undertone, which will become more apparent when I get into some comparisons. Now that we have all that information out of the way, let's get into the demo. This is going to be the most important section because I'm going to show you guys how this applies to the face. How blendable is this? How natural does this actually look? So let's head on over to that. Okay, friends, let's get into the demo of this powder. I want to show you how this applies to my face. I'm using natural light, so hopefully this will be super realistic for you all. I have just applied some foundation. I've applied some concealer. I don't have any other powders on my face. So the brush that I'm going to be using to apply this today is the Sonia G Keiyaki Niji. This came out recently and I kind of shared my thoughts on it in a recent video, but I thought that this was good because it's not too dense, not too fluffy. It's a really good Goldilocks brush to show you guys how this applies. So first off, I'll just dip my brush in there and I'll show you just how much comes off. It's not a crazy amount, but you don't need to dig your brush into this powder to pick up the pigment. It's not a baked product or anything like that. So let me just show you how this applies. See, I'm going in with a very light hand and you can definitely tell the difference, but you can certainly build it up. We'll do one side of the face and then you can kind of see the difference. Like the name would suggest, this powder is super duper airy. See how I went in kind of heavy there on my forehead and so I have this splotch? It blends out very seamlessly. See how I was able to buff that out? Absolutely no problem. And I'm wearing the Clé de Peau Radiant Cream Foundation. So I'm wearing kind of like a little bit more of like a creamier foundation. Even if you have something that's a little bit more luminous, I find that this blends really well. You know how sometimes with certain bronzers, it's like you get that splotch and you just cannot blend it out, or you can only use it with a matte foundation? I don't have that problem with this powder. So I'm just gonna blend that in. We're gonna do a little bit here on the chin. And this shade Atlas, it's definitely more of a golden undertone. This is the second shade. If you are a little bit more like cooler undertone, I would suggest going for the first shade that is in the line. But this just kind of shows you guys, here's what it looks like with the bronzer on, and I'll kind of show you in the natural light. And then this is with nothing. You can definitely tell the difference there, but it's pretty natural. I'm gonna blend it on the other half of my face now so you guys can see the full effect. And here is what the bronzer looks like all over my face. Comment down below, let me know, do you think this looks natural? I think it is certainly incredibly blendable, and I like the sort of nice, natural, like healthy glow that it gives me. I do think that this translates pretty matte. It doesn't really add a lot of illumination at all to the face. Not really. I am going to be doing some comparisons in a second so that you guys can kind of see what I mean, and I can show it up against some other popular bronzers, but I think that that gives you a good natural light impression of this bronzer. So that is our demo. I hope that that demo was helpful. Now I'm going to be doing some comparisons with a couple of other very popular luxury bronzers that I have in my collection, so you guys can see not only the difference in the color, but also the difference in the formula. I think that these are going to be super helpful for all of you who maybe already have some of these in your collection and you're trying to decide if you're going to spend over $90 on a mineral powder. So let me show you guys the first swatches here. What you're seeing here is first the Hermes Bronzer in the shade Atlas, then we have Guerlain Medium Warm, and then we have the Guerlain Terracotta Light, and this is in the light warm shade, which has that peachy undertone. I think what you guys will notice here is that the Hermes, it's a little smoother, it's a little sheer, it's also more matte. It's not as radiant as the ones from Guerlain. I feel like those have a little bit more radiance to them and also a little bit more pigmentation. They don't have that kind of super soft, finely milled feel that you get from the Hermes. The second set of swatches that I have here are number one, the Hermes. Then I have the Gucci bronzer in the shade Fair. That is the lightest shade. And then below that, I have Tom Ford bronzer in the shade Terra. You can see that the Gucci and the Tom Ford, they are much more neutral in tone. In fact, I think that these are probably a little bit most similar to the lightest shade that is in this Hermes line. Tom Ford has also a little bit more of a like luminous airbrush finish. So if you're going for a little bit more of that sort of luminosity, I would go for the Tom Ford. The one from Hermes, it is much more matte. And then the last set of swatches that I have for you all are right here. The first one, obviously the Hermes. Then I have the Wayne Goss Radiance powder in the shade Light Gold. That is the lightest shade in his line. And then below that, I have the Victoria Beckham matte bronzing brick in the shade 02. The Wayne Goss, it's still light and kind of natural like the Hermes, but it is much glowier. It's supposed to be a radiance powder. So once again, if you want kind of something similar to the Hermes, but maybe something that's much more glowy and kind of gives you that like natural healthy glow, I would go for the Wayne Goss. And then the Victoria Beckham, I think the Victoria Beckham is probably the formula that is the most similar to the Hermes because it's very matte. It's probably a little more matte than the Hermes, and it's also super blendable. The colors here are pretty different because this shade Atlas, it's pretty warm, but I just wanted to show you guys for comparison. You know, I think that the Hermes, it's a little bit more finely milled. It's called Plein Air, and I think that that very much matches up with the formula. It's an airier formula. Out of all of these, I think that the Victoria Beckham is probably the closest to the Hermes. All right, my friends, I hope that all this has been helpful so far. Now it is time for my final thoughts. What do I think of this new powder from Hermes? If you guys couldn't tell, I actually really like this bronzer. I think it is a very lovely formula. I have not tried the setting powders from this Plein Air line because you guys know, if you follow me, you know I don't really use setting powders all that much. I have dry skin. I'm almost 32. I don't like to emphasize any dryness on my face, but I love a good powder bronzer, and I do think that this is a good one. I really like how natural it is. It's buildable. It has kind of like a sheerness to it that kind of lets the rest of your makeup shine through. It doesn't really like overtake your face. I think that this is extremely user-friendly because you guys saw in the demo, it blended out like a dream. Like even if you kind of go in with a pointed brush and you get that dreaded splotch, it's easy to blend out. It is probably the most lightweight and blendable bronzer that I have in my collection. I think that if you like the other Hermes products, if you like the blushes, if you like the setting powder, then I think you are going to very much enjoy this powder. Now, the question is it worth the hefty price tag? Well, I just took a look at some prices of the other comparison bronzers that I was showing you guys a second ago. The Gucci bronzer is $64. The Victoria Beckham is $60. And the Tom Ford is $70. So there really isn't much to like justify the increase in price of this bronzer other than the fact that it's Hermes. And you know what? I actually like the packaging of the Gucci bronzer and the Victoria Beckham more than this. I think that this is beautiful, don't get me wrong, but it is a little bit plasticky, and I just appreciate like the weightiness, the metalness of the Victoria Beckham and the Gucci. I like the Tom Ford as well. The Tom Ford I probably like just as much as this one in terms of the component, but I don't really see anything justifying the increase in price. It's not like this is miles better than any other bronzer that is in my collection. Is it a good bronzer? Yeah, I think it's bomb. I actually think that I might get the lighter shade in this bronzer because this shade is a little bit too warm for me. I think that it looks fine. I can get away with it, but I think I'm gonna go back to maybe the store if they have all of the shades in stock. Check out the lighter shade and also check out the glowier powders. Comment down below if you guys would like me to post some swatches or maybe do a demo with those if I end up picking them up. It all depends on like the availability of them. But yeah, I think I'm gonna get maybe a different color in this one if I can. Speaking of the shades, I do think that they could have used at least two more bronzers in this shade range. You know, they came out with a lot of blush colors. They can come out with 2 or 3 more shades in this bronzer. Once again, I haven't seen all of the shades in person. Sometimes we look at the promo photos and the colors look kind of whack, or they look really light or really yellow, or maybe we get them in person and they look completely different. So I'll kind of reserve my judgment until I see them in person. But just looking at the promo photos, I do think that this could use another 2 or 3 bronzers, especially in kind of like the mid to darker range, because we all have different undertones. Like I said, like this this is the right level of fairness for me, but I think the undertone is a little bit too warm. So I want to mention that as well. Hermes, you probably need to come out with at least 2 shades. I'm going to be looking out for an extension of this line. When I look at Sephora and I look at best-selling bronzers, I did do that. I think that technically 5 bronzers, it does kind of match up with other brands, but you know what? This is Hermes and this should be an absolute luxury experience. So I think when you buy a bronzer for this amount, you should be able to get the perfect bronzer shade. So I can kind of see from a business standpoint why they launched 5, but if you're Hermes and you have all this capital to be able to like create these products, I think that there should be more shades. The other thing I want to mention, just to kind of keep in mind for the formula, I do think that this is pretty matte. I mentioned that in the demo. This is not a super glowy powder. I know that it said semi-matte on the box. I don't know. I think most of the glow that I'm getting here is from the Chanel blush that I put on top, and also from the Clé de Peau foundation that I'm wearing. I have kind of a natural moisturized look to my face because of the base that I put on. If you put this on a super matte complexion, I just don't think you're gonna get a ton of illumination. Like there's a little bit there, but definitely not as much as like Tom Ford, Wayne Goss. If you like the Victoria Beckham matte bronzing brick, I think you're going to like this. So in summary, my friends, do I like this bronzer? Do I think it is good quality? Absolutely, I think it is. I think there's just a steep markup here because it is Hermes. So if you're interested in this, I think it depends on if you can find a color that suits you. If you like this sort of very lightweight type of bronzer, something that's super natural. If you like something that's like more matte than luminous, and also if it fits your budget. I did the comparisons that you guys can kind of see how it matches up with other bronzers. And so I think most people, you're not gonna be disappointed when you try this out. I think it's a really good product. It just depends on what you already have in your collection. Are you in the market for a bronzer? If you already have 1, 2, 3 of the bronzers that I did in the comparisons, then you probably don't need this. This is also going to be permanent, so you can wait. You can finish up one of your luxury bronzers, and if you want to give this a try, maybe watch some more reviews, people with different skin tones and skin types, then you can pick it up later. No rush. All right, friends, that's all I have to say about this Hermes mineral powder. Sound off in those comments down below and let me know what you think. Do you think the price of this is crazy? Do you think it looks good on me? Do you think it looks too yellow on me? I would love to know all of your thoughts on whether or not you think you're going to be picking up this bronzer. If this review was helpful and if you liked it, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate that. Anything that is on my face and that I mentioned in this video, along with all of the information about where you can get this, will be in that description box down below. Don't forget to subscribe to me here on YouTube and on my Instagram. And with that, friends, I hope that you are having a fantastic day, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye.